Welcome back to Blacksheep Barbell Podcast. Today we have Bill Gillespie on the show. He is the all-time world record bench press holder at 1,129.8 pounds. That's insane.
It is, and we're super excited. We're fans of bench. Yeah. We've been keeping up with Squat-tober and December, and we've always wondered, where's Benchuary?
Yeah, he's the creator of Benchuary coming out in February. So
it's going to be cool talking to Bill. We're going to get some – he has a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
A lot of knowledge when it comes to benching and strength training, and we're looking forward to this month of Benchuary.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, Bill.
Bill, I'm seeing a nice home gym there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It was really helpful at one point in time.
Yeah.
Bert gave me a bar. Richard gave me a bar. And it's the only bar I've ever found that could handle over 1,100 pounds safely. So
wow.
Yeah.
What kind of bar was it?
A DeMarco bar, and I was told it had come out of it was out of the museum at Sorinex, and it had come out of the original West Side in California.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Ethan and I are huge fans of Sorinex. We had Jacob Satry.
Yeah.
We had him on, and we were talking with him. We've been down to the Sorinex headquarters. We were going out to Myrtle Beach for a vacation one time, and on our drive there, we stopped by Sorinex, and just the hospitality, man. Bert was there in the lobby. We talked to him for a little bit.
Yeah. They're great people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I love going down there, and I love hanging out with them. I tell people all the time, if you really want to know what Bert's like, you see him on the stage, you see him at the booth. I says, spend 4 days in a car with him. Same guy. He never changes. He's the same guy. Just a great guy. I've known him since he's a little boy, and I love him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you said you've been not working with them, but using Sorinex equipment and everything for 40 years.
40 years, yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, we were one of the first weight rooms that they ever built, big weight rooms they ever built was at Liberty. And then we've had, I can't even tell you how many weight rooms they've built at Liberty. 5, 6, 7, I have no idea.
Wow.
Millions of dollars. But
yeah, when we went down there, it was a great facility. I mean, the equipment, like I was saying, the hospitality, they're just like, yeah, you guys feel free to train.
Yeah.
I was like, are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, they're very down to earth. They love people, especially Pops was that way. He appreciated someone who would get in there and train hard. He didn't care, man, woman, little, just train hard. That's all he wanted, And
that's awesome.
Got a lot of respect for the man because of it.
Definitely. So obviously, we got something big coming up. Yeah. Benchuary.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good time.
I'm super excited for that. And even when we were talking to Jacob, he was talking about that there were talks before of a bench program and everything. And now just to see it, coming about is amazing.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for it. Bench is my favorite movement.
Good.
I know you told me that you use some of these workout routines when you were training before.
Right. Well, when I went to work for Sorinex, Pops and Bert sat me down and kind of had an intervention with me and said, hey, do you know your value? And I'm like, I know my value is on the floor. And when I coach, I could change a kid's life. But I says, that's the only value I have. And they had to sit down for an hour and a half to try to convince me that I had more than just that as a value to me. And I told them, I said, when I got out of coaching, I said, I feel sick to my stomach because I didn't share all my training secrets, because I was told when I went to Liberty from the Seahawks that I would have lifetime job security. So there was no need for me to continue to promote myself. And that kind of bit me in the butt. And so then I said, Bert, I really want to share with the world what I did, and what I did as a strength coach, and what I did as a lifter. And he says, well, we're going to give you that opportunity. And he's allowed me to go all over the country to speak, to share my training ideas. Now we're doing Benchuary, and I'm excited about it because I truly didn't want, as a young guy, finding good information was next to impossible because you always had to go to the magazines or in person, and there was no such thing as the internet back then. And so it was tough because I wanted to find the facts of what really worked and what really didn't work. And it took a long time to figure that out. And, I'll tell you straight out, I was not a gifted bench presser. I've had many, many, many other training partners that were significantly stronger than me. But I was just too dumb to stop, and I just kept staying after it,
Yeah.
And, I ended up weeding out the things that didn't work. And, people say, how in the world were you at your strongest at 62? And I said, I wasn't my strongest. I just at my best at exhibiting my strength at 62.
Right.
And there's a world of difference. I was definitely stronger when I was 38. I did some pretty cool things. I did a 45 degree incline with 495.
Wow.
I had 6 dips all the way down, all the way up with 8 45-pound plates.
Jeez.
I did 50 pull-ups in a row, weighing 283 pounds.
Oh my God.
And these are all drug-free stuff.
Yeah.
It was my passion. I really wanted to know what made you stronger. I mean, I really wanted to know because I figured, hey, nobody's really going to know who I am, in the big realm of things. I don't care what I did in the bench press. And, but if I could get really, really strong, then, and understand why, and when things fit, then I would go and could help other people out. And because the bench press was such a mystery to me for so long, I just started studying it, and went, okay, this fits here. Back in when I was 35, I said, I'm going to reinvent how to train the bench press. And I sat down and totally redesigned the whole bench routine. And since then, I've been pioneering it every year, just changing it up a little bit, keeping what works and refining what didn't work.
Hell yeah. So I kind of want to touch on a little bit about like your starting point of what got you into lifting and kind of when you began.
Yeah, when I was a little boy, I wanted to be strong. I had an uncle, my dad's brother, who was really, really strong. I was told he was the number 2 bench presser in the world I think it was late 50s, early 60s when he was in the Walla Walla State Penitentiary. But
Oh, wow.
he was brutally strong. I mean, he benched 505 or something like that back a long time ago. And I witnessed him doing some things that were just off the charts strong. And I always wanted to be strong. And I started to realize if I was strong, I would have some type of edge as an athlete. I'd have a better chance of getting a scholarship and maybe even being a professional, but I knew I was never going to do that if I didn't get stronger. So when I was 14, my mom and dad bought me a weight set, one of those concrete plastic weight sets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I did 3 sets of 10 of everything that they said to do. And I didn't know how much weight to use. And I saw the picture had a 10, 5, 2.5 on there. So that's what I did 3 times a day, But I really wanted to get strong. And eventually, my deadlift was always really good. I should have been a great deadlifter. I got skinny little legs, big butt, and a big back, I was built for the deadlift. But I didn't understand how to train it correctly. And really, the bench press was the only lift that survived my mentality. And I just decided, I said, all right, let's go with it. And I just kept getting stronger. I kept thinking, man, maybe I could be something else, compete in archery or something like that. And I said, no. Turned out I was going to be a bench presser. And I'm like, God, what's the deal, man? I suck at the bench. Why do you want me doing this? And you just hold on. And when I turned 60, I realized, holy smokes, I got a chance to be that guy, I never saw myself as that guy. I always saw myself as not being very strong on the bench. And it was pretty scary because I knew that my time was limited. I didn't have much tread left on the tire, and it was time to either put up or shut up. And with the shirts we were using, they were so new that we didn't know. There were so many things that we didn't understand about them, and I'd make adjustments. I moved my hands out wider, and thinking that was going to help me bring touch easier. It helped me touch easier, but I couldn't push the weight off my chest because of my hands were too wide. And simply, like my first 2 attempts when I set the record, I missed it bad. And I simply moved my grip in 1/8 of an inch. And that was all it needed, was to give me the ability to touch and to press the weight out comfortably. And it's, when you're not very strong, you got to do everything right. That's simple. And so what I did is I just took all that information and said, okay, I'm going to put it together and I'm going to share it with the world. I ain't holding nothing back. I want to leave a legacy, I want it to be from now on known as, hey, this is a great bench routine. And, people will say, well, it might work for you because you're older and you have more experience, or because you lifted in a shirt. Well, the truth is that the following year after I set the record, I counted up, I had 20 guys and women that I coached that were ranked in the top 20 all time in the world in their category in the bench press. And they were from ages 69 to 17 with a shirt, no shirt, with multiply. It didn't really matter, They all made gains off of it. So I'm very confident that if you follow this correctly, now this is going to be the biggest problem, is following it correctly. People, my fear is choosing your training max has got to be the most pivotal part of it. And guys, I know what they do, and I did it too. I tried it. They say, well, my best bench is 500. Well, I'm going to use that for my training max. Well, can you do 500 right now? Oh, no.
It's like all the stars aligned on that day when you hit that heavy weight.
You're gaining weight or whatever, and there's ways to sabotage and ways to make sure your bench goes well. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody had a fair chance of doing well. And if you choose your training max over something that you absolutely know that you can do, in fact, if you do the prep cycle, the last workout before you go into the Benchuary program is a soft touch pause on the bench to try to get an idea of where you're at, So the people that are jumping on this prep program, it's going to be huge, because I was very, very concerned about people doing this program and not being used to the volume of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of repetitive work. People are going to go, where's the variety? There's some variety in it, enough. Trust me, that's one of my secrets, is limit the variation. Too much variation causes you to be good at a lot of things. I don't want to be good at a lot of things. I want to be good at the bench press. So
that's the ultimate goal, is improving the bench.
Exactly. And so, like, if I'm training athletes, that's a different story. They have to be ready to punch here, wherever, But for the bench press, it's a different story. And I think building a solid bench press is going to allow you to build off of that, if you are an athlete, to become even more diverse on the field.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, hey, I know Ethan and I, and, speaking for a lot of other people, we're super excited. I think that this is something for years now we've talked about. We're like, man, they got to do like a bench one, because it's like there was that gap. There was the Squat-tober, which we've been doing for like 6 years now. And then there's the little gap. And then, we would do December. And I'm like, we need a bench one. I'm like Sorinex, they got to pull it out, man.
Yeah.
And so it's awesome to see you doing it now.
Well, I had to be careful. I don't want to be a self-promoter. So I didn't go and promote to do the bench press. I thought that was too obvious. I came with it was I thought we should have had I'd like to see us do a month on the grip. And, we got our founder of the company, Richard Klops. His grip was legendary. And I thought, man, I told Bert, I said, hey, we got the master of the grip here. We could sell all those little gadgets to train your grip, and And it's the foundation of strength. You're not going to get any stronger than your grip allows you to. So what's really cool, and a little tidbit for you, is the Russian coach I got all this information from says that you can only develop your grip potential until the age of 21. But that doesn't mean you can't get stronger. That just means after the age of 21 or roughly thereof, you will only be able to develop your grip to the potential you developed it to as you were working to get to 21. So even if you're not seeing great gains, it's important to put the work in because you'll reap the rewards later in life. That's what happened to me too.
Oh yeah.
And you said that when you were 60 years old, is that when you did the world record?
62.
62. Wow. And for people watching, that's 1,129.8 pounds.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time, to the best of my knowledge, the first time anybody's broke the drug tested and non-tested bench press record on the same day.
That's amazing.
Man, that is, yeah.
What was that? Like, how did that feel? Like, that weight, you unrack that weight. You come down and you push it up. Like, how did that feel?
Let me tell you something. I knew it was going to be my last meet. I told my wife ahead of time because I was having problems finding spotters. I was so beat up. To this day, I still can't believe I did it because I was just so beat up. I hadn't had a good workout in weeks. My raw strength, I knew when I say my raw strength was good, I don't mean to say I could bench a lot raw. I could develop my bench raw as well as I could to contribute to the shirt. Okay. There's a world of difference. So I want to make sure, because people always ask me all the time, what's your raw bench? I'm not competing in the raw bench. So it just because you can bench a lot raw doesn't mean you can bench a lot in a shirt. And vice versa. Just because you can bench a lot in a shirt doesn't mean you can bench a lot raw. I respect both, hey, we're all in this together. So, hey, I'm going to celebrate everybody that's out there trying hard. But, I was at the time, I wanted this thing pretty bad, but I was willing to walk away and accept not setting the record. I had given it my best. I couldn't give it any more. I tried as hard as I could. And I just said, hey, God, whatever, I just thank you. I didn't ask him to help me. I just said, thank you for allowing me to do something I absolutely love to do for 50 years at the highest level. I mean, my younger brother didn't even live to see 57, and here I am, 62, setting the world record. I am blessed. Wow. I know I am. So I'm like, hey, whatever happens, happens. I just want you to know I tried my best. And well, I'll tell you what, that weight came down, and when they handed it to me, I thought, all right, here we go. I know it's
game time.
Step. It's gonna feel light. And I had the greatest spotters in the world. I mean, they could lay that weight in my hands perfectly. And they laid it out there, and they handed it to me, and I went, oh my gosh, it's so heavy. I mean, it's so heavy that you think to yourself, if I bend my arms, it's crashing on top of me. I mean, it's everything you have. But yet, if you bring it down too slow, there ain't going to be nothing left to push it back up. Because this is a key coaching tip, is when people miss a lift at the top half, it isn't always because they're weak at the top half of the bench. Sometimes they just run out of time. And the heavier the weight gets, the shorter the window is to exhibit your strength. So you got to move the weight faster. And if people question that, I'll tell you this. How about you could do a set of 10 with a stupid lightweight. You'll go really, 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 really slow. All right? But you add more weight to that bar for a set of 10. What do you do instinctively? You go faster because you know you're going to run out of time. And the same thing's true when you go for a max. So if you bring the bar down too slow, there's your time. You're sucking it up on the eccentric load. And with that kind of weight, it's hard to bring it down under control. And
you can imagine.
So, but as soon as they said press, man, that thing shot up and I hit it. Normally, I can't hold the lockout very long. Man, it was so perfect in position. I just sat there and thought, just hold me as long as you want. I don't care. I'm good.
Like, I'll stay here all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan and I, we're huge fans of the bench. You know, it's been one of my favorite movements for years.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, the frequency and just getting used to and getting your form down and, you know, seeing that progression with your strength. I mean, there's nothing like it. It's so exciting.
Yeah. You know, I went to Budapest one time for the World Championships, the IPF Worlds. And when you go there, you fly into the main city. This time it was Budapest. And then they put you on a bus and they transport all the lifters on that bus together. And you might have to sit there for an hour and a half before everybody's there, gets off their plane. So we're just sitting there talking, and some of the guys, they knew I was a strength coach and stuff, and so they started asking me some questions about lifting. And I thought, okay, I'll impress them with my hard work. And they said, how many times a week do you bench heavy? And I said, 3. And they went, wow. They said, how long you been doing that? And I thought, well, I'll shock them on this one. I said, I've been doing it for a long time. And they looked at me and they said, how long's your bench been stuck? And I'm like, oh my God. How'd you know?
How'd you know?
But they said simply this: if you want to bench more, you got to bench more. Meaning,
absolutely,
more frequently. And I thought to myself, I remember working as a hod carrier, a laborer for construction. And the first 3 weeks, I thought I was going to die. I mean, I'd go home the first night. I'm like, I didn't even want to eat dinner. I didn't want to shower. I just wanted to go to bed, I'm so exhausted. And I'm thinking how these old men are just wearing me out. I'm thinking, this is embarrassing. I mean, these guys are in great shape. I'll never be in this kind of shape. 3 weeks later, I'm running like crazy. I'm adapted. I'm fine. And I'm handling the workload just great. And it helped me understand that when I go to train on the bench press or whatever lift, I might suffer for 3 weeks, but my body will adapt if I pick the right load. And that's what happens. And then after 3 weeks, boom, it takes off, man. Yeah. And you start getting stronger. My goal was to get stronger, about 1.5 to 2% stronger about every week and a half. Yeah. That's huge. That's a lot.
Oh yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Like always adding weight. Like we always hear people say that add 2.5, add 5, add 10 pounds every week until you get to that point where you get stuck and you keep training that and then you keep going. That's like the importance of PRs as well, just to see where you are and how you can improve.
Yeah. Well, what I did is I bought 1.25 pound plates. So my jumps were 2.5 pounds total. From every week and a half, 2 weeks. So I would, my jumps were so insignificant that I couldn't, if I said, oh no, I don't know if I can make this weight, I couldn't even tell the difference between that last weight and this weight, It was all a matter of how well I recovered from the last workout. And by my saying was, inch by inch, it's a cinch, yard by yard, it's hard. And the longer you can build that base program of building your base foundation, the more you got to go to do something special with it. But so many times we go to getting stronger. We know we're getting stronger, and we want to see where we're at. We want to max. And I'm like, not yet. Wait.
Try to cut it short, right? Like, let's see. Feeling good today.
Yeah. I feel. I can't tell you the number of guys that's happened to me. Said, Coach, I want you to know, you told me not to max, but I just felt great. Always wanted to get 500. And I'm like, too bad. I said, because I was hoping for you to do 535. And boy, I'll tell you what, every time any guy's done it, it's been it's about 2 years later. They're still going, man, I really blew it. I could have done more. And I'm like, I know. Because when you go into a training cycle, how you're prepared your body is just as important as the training cycle itself. I mean, if you're fried and worn out, don't expect some training program to correct that. All right, it's not going to correct it. It's probably going to make it worse. But if you can come into this routine, my biggest trick was simply this: I would lose weight. I would get lean during the off season. I would purposely just watch everything I ate. I did lots of cardio, and I would get lean. Then when the competition would come up, I would start eating, back the cardio down, and I would gain back about 50% of the weight that I had lost. And Dave Tate told me, he says, Bill, he said, that's the closest you're ever going to feel to being on steroids. I went, oh my gosh, that's a pretty good feeling. I said, I never had a bad workout. He goes, yeah. I mean, I blew through every plateau I ever had, every time. It's just, and people, I think a lot of times just aren't patient enough. And I was in it for the long run, So, you and the yo-yo body weight made a difference. It gave me an opportunity to get back in shape, because it's absolutely true. Louis said it forever. You want to get strong, gain weight. Well, that's true until a certain point. And then you're going to start losing your GPP. You're going to start losing your fitness levels, and you're going to get fat, nasty, and you're not going to be strong. I don't care even if it's on the bench press. Needless to say, the deadlift is a whole nother ball, another game. But it's you really, that's one of the biggest tricks there are is to gain the weight while you're on the training cycle. And if you're on a diet during this training cycle, it's not going to be all that pretty. It's just simple.
That's what I did, Bill. That's what I did back in 2020, 2021, when I was really trying to up my numbers in the squat, bench, and deadlift. I was gaining weight, and I'm a shorter guy. I'm 5'6", and I got my weight up to 200 pounds. And it was all for that, that goal of like mass is going to move weight. Like I want to put weight on, to feel stronger. And it worked. Yeah. Like it helped so much. And just having like that back width on the bench of being heavier and thicker and allowing me to push weight, and then cutting down, just trying to maintain that sometimes. It's a challenge.
It's so hard. The deadlift,
I know.
You can hold on to the deadlift. Some with the squat, that bench press is going to disappear. It's just the leverages just change. Your back gets smaller, your butt gets smaller, and that's all part of the getting in position and getting the arch that you need. It all plays a role in it,
Yeah. I've definitely found too with bench, I mean, I could say this for every lift, obviously with Squattober and Deadcember, like that frequency of doing the lift more really helps with, dialing in your form. And benching for me, I've always found it gets the best when I'm doing it more.
Yeah.
I did back in the day, 2021, I don't know if you're familiar with Smolov Jr. I did a Smolov Jr. It was benching like 5 times a week. And up in the weight every week. And it was crazy. I mean, it was a month long and I did it, but I saw good results that helped me get to my 315, first time I ever hit it.
Yeah. Hey, I went crazier than that. I benched either 2 to 3 times a day for 40 days in a row.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Have you ever ran into like any injuries?
No.
Wow.
No.
Benching 2 to 3 times a day for 40 days.
Yeah. No, I've never been injured. That's one of the keys why I was able to bench big weights. Louis told me, he said, you can poke an old man with a needle, he'll jump just as fast as a young man. And so I just simply I was very blessed to stay healthy. I never tore a pec until I got ready for this to set the record. But even then, it wasn't bad. But I never had an injury on the upper body at all. So that's one of the keys to why I was able to keep getting stronger. Stay healthy. And stop trying to overreach. You know what I mean? You want it so bad. And God tells us, don't be anxious for nothing. And boy, is it true in the world of lifting weight. Yeah. You wait your turn, okay? And when it comes, it's there. But if you try to force it in there prematurely, oh my gosh.
Yeah. You got to trust the training.
Yep.
A lot of people struggle with that. You got to trust the process. Like stick with those training days. Even if it's like a lighter day, not too many workout. I mean, trust the process. It's all part of the plan.
Yeah. It is. It truly is. And like, you'll be going and, people ask me how did you push yourself for 50 years? Oh, my darn. I had some bad days. I joke. I said I had a bad decade between the ages of 49 and 59. I didn't get any better. But then again, I realized it was because I was working 70 hours a week trying to make a football team, a great football team, So, life gets in the way. You go from being single to being married and having children. All of a sudden you're like, gosh, I just don't seem to be as passionate about my lifting. Life gets in the way,
all these other responsibilities popping up and you're like, Jesus.
Yeah. I was a power lifter for years until the mid 90s. And then I just, my career as a strength coach at University of Washington, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do all 3 lifts anymore. And I didn't have time or energy. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to have to just go to 1 lift. And I thought about just going to the deadlift, but I said, well, I'll go to the bench press. I want to figure this thing out,
Yeah.
What NFL team were you strength coach for?
I was with the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How long? You were with them for
2 years.
Oh, 2. Okay.
Yeah. I voluntarily left. I begged my wife into letting me stay, and she's like, because I said, this is going to be the year we go to the Super Bowl. And she says, you've been saying that for 2 years. And I know. And guess what happened? They went to the Super Bowl the next year. And I lost $217,000 in bonus money. And
oh my gosh.
most importantly, the ring. I wanted that Super Bowl ring bad. I have a national championship ring from Washington. And of course, I have a world record ring also. And I thought, man, that would solidify the job interviews, huh?
Yeah, right. How was that, dealing with those NFL athletes?
They're wonderful. They're 95% of the guys are absolutely wonderful. They're way easier to work with. I thought the egos were going to be the biggest problem, and the egos are more with the coaches than it was with the players.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The players were humble and easy to coach and easy to work with, and grateful as can be. And you only train them at about what I consider 80% proficiency, because you're not really trying to develop them; you're just trying to keep them healthy. Yeah. So it's really easy. And I honestly got bored with it, and I wanted to develop. Yeah, I wanted to develop some players. And so and I wanted to put my name behind a program that, did something phenomenal with them. And that's why I wanted, and I went to school at Liberty, and I always was so frustrated with the fact that they were never as good as I thought they should have been. And so that's why I left and went back there to help them get to the big time.
That's amazing. What were you also a coach for? It says NCAA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did that 30 years between Liberty and University of Washington. I was at University of Washington for 11 years. So
okay.
Yeah, I got.
Was there any differences like training them over the NFL?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's simple. You put it this way. The NFL players would tell their wives and kids, "Daddy's going to work." They never said, "Daddy's going to go practice football." Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a different mentality than college football players. And college football players, except for only a couple schools I've visited, they're some of the most entitled individuals I've ever been around. And kind of makes me sick to my stomach, to be honest with you. And the only schools, the biggest school that I saw that didn't have an ego problem, believe it or not, was last year's University of Michigan football team a year ago. Yeah, right. When they were national champions. They were unbelievable. They cleaned up that weight room on their own like you can't imagine. Spotless.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, we like to hear that.
Yeah, we're fellow Michigan fans. So.
Are you really?
Yeah, that's where we're from.
Yeah.
Oh, Michigan. My gosh. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. I love when Coach Harbaugh was there, he came down and told me after my first day there, he said, "You're not going to be," he said to me and Bert, he said, "You guys aren't just going to become part of this football program. You have to become part of this football program. We want you to be part of this team." And it was really, man, it was great. And then my mentor, who was the head strength coach with the Seahawks, is now the director of performance with the Lions. So,
oh wow!
So I go out there to Detroit, go hang out with those guys. I was hanging out with them all the time.
Oh awesome. My gosh!
Yeah, next time I come up there, I'll have to come hang out with you guys to see.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. Hey, Lions are putting up a pretty good show, huh?
Yeah. Well, I remember it was like a little over a year ago in the middle of the season. And I called a strength coach and I said, "Hey, there's a chance I could come out there. Can I get together with you?" And he said, "Bill, we are we're having a come to Jesus meeting, and we know this is it. It's either get this ship righted, get it out, get it straightened out, or we're all going to be unemployed. And that was a turning point, man. They seemed like all of a sudden they just took off, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy for them. The good guys up there.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that you were up here and everything. Yeah, next time you're around, let us know.
Yeah. I 2 years ago I was up there and I went out to my truck to get something, and I'm walking back, tripped and lunged forward, and I tore my left calf really bad.
Oh,
and, and of course, what happens a month or two later? You tear the right one. And I like to tell people, I was working with the University of Michigan football team, and I'm like, man. Okay, the truth is, I was walking out of my car.
You got to harden up the story a little bit, right?
But Coach Harbaugh, I tell you what, I love that guy, man. He is awesome. He saw that we were there, and he says, "Hey, can I join you guys for this meeting? I would like to learn more about lifting weights." And we're like, "Sure." So we're sitting there, and then we go to eat, and he goes, "Can I join you?" And I said, "Coach, it's your cafeteria. Yeah, of course. Can we join you?" And he was so awesome, so down to earth, so much fun. But he would go and they take him through a workout, and they said he always wore the Michigan sweatshirt and the khaki pants. Okay,
yeah,
all the way through the workout, and then he would go. They said, "Coach, we got to be really careful what we tell him." And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Well, if we tell him to you do 12 to 20, he'll always go and get mad and look at us and go, 'What? You don't think I can do 20?'" And you'll hear him out there in the weight room just screaming to get all 20 reps, and you're like, wow, he's here, he's my kind of guy. You know what I mean? Down to earth. Awesome. He's not stuck up by any means whatsoever, and you'd never know that he was such a great football coach just hanging out with him. But super guy, I love him to death, and it's no wonder the players love him, play so hard for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best kind of people, just so down to earth, easy to have a conversation with, super humble.
Yep, don't have to pretend,
Yeah, just be yourself.
Yeah. I've been blessed. I get to go see a lot of different great football teams as part of my job, and so I go hang out with my friends and share with them, and you never know what kind of little tidbit of information you might pick up from one of these guys, So, but most of the time they're just pestering me for all my secrets. And, but I'll tell you what, for this Benchuary, I know I wrote down some stuff. I mean, like I put out what I call my super drink. My former lifters are just like, I can't believe you're sharing all this information. I mean, everything that I have a weight gain drink that I got from the Soviet Union, and if you have trouble getting big and you want to go and make sure you do well on this bench routine, just drink this drink, and it's legit. But do me a favor, if you mix one up and don't drink it, throw it out. Do not drink it the next day.
Let's hear it, Bill. Let's hear it. I gotta take some notes.
It's simple. It's simple. I found through Whole Foods is your best source of nutrition. Okay, no question about it. And so we know that eggs and milk is the most complete protein that there is. We've been told forever that raw eggs, the body can't assimilate the protein from raw eggs. Well, the Soviet Union did some studying and found there was an ingredient that's in our kitchens probably right now that if you add to the milk and eggs, you can absorb the protein from the eggs. And I'll tell you, I went in the third week of October one year. I weighed 219 pounds, weighed in for a competition. By the first week in January, I went from 219 to 265 pounds. And my raw bench, went from 380 to 510 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's when I went, holy smokes, this stuff is lethal, man. And I'm not the only one who's had this kind of freaky results from it. It's been everybody I put on it just gets massive and strong. It works that great. But it's simple. It's you take a quart of milk, all right, and you add 6 egg whites. And now today, with the way the egg whites come in cartons, it's cake now. Before I used to have to pour them on my fingers and wiggle through the yolks through my fingers. I had to make sure my hands were perfectly clean and all that stuff. And then I would add, personally, if you want to taste good, add a scoop of protein to it or something like that. Chocolate protein makes it taste good, but honestly, the egg whites don't have any flavor to them, so it tastes like milk and a slimy to it. But the key is to add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil.
Oh wow!
I know, not canola, not olive oil. Vegetable oil is what the Russian coach said. Number 1 supplement, vegetable oil. And holy smokes, yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, and so then I started doing some studying and found out that why it was, and I had it confirmed from another Russian coach that's why. And boy, I'll tell you what, that supplement, and then a pharmacist shared with me another one for your joints. My elbows were so bad that I couldn't even bench 88 pounds for 4 reps. It was just, they were hurting so bad. And I tried everything and nothing was working. And I thought, well, that's the end of my bench career. It's over. And he said, well, Bill, we've had some success with people putting more fluid in the joints by taking krill oil and Knox gelatin. And I said, okay. So I ran to Walmart and I bought some krill oil and some Knox gelatin and started taking it. 3 days later, I'm benching. I feel great. And
Wow.
Yeah. And now, people say, well, it's a placebo. Well, yeah, I agree. It could have been, other than the fact I tried everything else in the world and nothing worked. But here's how you know if a supplement works, is when you run out. And 3 days later, you can't bench anymore because your elbows hurt so bad. So I went and I was taking this twice a day, and I was making gains. Good recovery on it, and we started noticing that if we had a soft tissue tear, that we were recovering like twice as fast from it. And I had a friend of mine, Jonah Leo, who was multiple-time world champion in the bench press in the IPF. He's like, Coach, I think I have a slight pec tear. What do I do? I said, go to Walmart.
Go to Walmart.
He goes, what's in this stuff? Do I have anything to worry about? I get drug tests. I said, you have nothing to worry about. It's completely natural. And he goes, this is unbelievable. So we noticed this pattern of it helping you recover. One day it hit me. Holy smokes. If it's helping me recover from injuries, what am I doing every day when I come in the weight room? I'm creating all these micro tears, and it would help me recover from my workouts faster. Well, the research came out and said that this combination of these 2 things together will give the body an anabolic effect, allowing you to make greater gains than ever before.
Man, that is interesting. I know what I'm going to Walmart before Benchuary. I'm going to Walmart.
Walmart's got all the supplements you need for.
I'm going to send you a picture of it, Bill, and be like, look.
Yeah, you go. I just simply took a small glass of water, and threw it. I ordered it by on Amazon by the tub. Okay, industrial size. And then I took a tablespoon, I throw it in there in the water, mix it up the best I can, and I take the krill oil tablet capsule. I take it, drink it down. It's not a problem. But boy, I tell you what, it's pretty miraculous how much it helps. I've had friends who had knee surgery scheduled, and I told them try this first, and it postponed their knee surgery for 5 years. So
wow,
yeah,
jeez,
yeah.
That's amazing. There's so many things out there like that you can take that are natural that people don't know about.
No.
Instead of resorting to all this other stuff, like you could have easily, had your elbow pain and had to take all these medications instead of trying something out.
Yeah, something simple like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I don't want to go and pass away and not share all these little secrets, because I mean, I can't be the only person in the world who's passionate about wanting to get strong, you know? And,
Yeah.
you know, even if it's not the bench press, you could still take a lot of this information and use it for your training, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I can't wait, man, for Benchuary. And, you know, it's I'm guessing it's just like how Squattober and December are. It's 5 days a week,
yeah,
a lot of volume.
yeah, it's gonna be.
You know,
You're gonna bench 3 times a week, and
okay.
and you're gonna do pull-ups 5 days a week.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Working the back.
Yeah.
Got to build that back. Do you remember Anthony Clark by any?
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I know.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
Samoan bench presser who used a reverse
Mhm.
grip to bench 800. I hung out with him for 3 or 4 days one time in New Orleans for a conference. And then 2 weeks later, I went to the national championships, powerlifting nationals in Chicago. And Mark Philippi comes up to me and he says, "Hey, you got anybody to coach you?" And I said, "No, He said, "You want somebody to coach you?" I said, "Sure." He says, "How about Eddie?" I said, "Who's Eddie?" And he goes, "Oh, sorry, Eddie Cohn." I'm like, "You're lying."
Oh.
I said, "There's no way. He doesn't know who I am, and he doesn't. I don't. Why would he do a good job coaching me?" And he goes, "He knows who you are, and trust me, he'd do a great job for you." Man, Eddie and I became best friends after that.
Oh,
Oh, that's
That guy-
awesome.
It was amazing. That guy, he's a champion because of who he is as a man.
Yeah.
My brother passed away, and he found out about it, called me to make sure I was okay. Guy come to find out the week before, his mother had passed away. He never mentioned it. All he was concerned about me. And I'm like, that tells you what kind of person he is. So last year at Summer Strong, they brought him down and they asked me to introduce him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd be so honored to be able to introduce him.
Yeah.
That guy's a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you on the phone too the other day that, you know, we do plan to go to Summer Strong this year.
Good.
Yeah, we'll be there. Been wanting to go for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So we'll be down there.
Yeah. Do you guys, now this is a live. I can't do contact me about it, okay?
Okay.
See if I can do something for you, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch because, you know, obviously you guys are great down there, man. All the Sorinex, like the Sorinex family, like we love you guys over there.
And you know what? I told Bert, I said, "Bert, I don't know what it is with you and your dad." I says, "But in general, you're not perfect, but you're not in general. You hire only good people." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, I said, "How do you do that?" And he goes, "I don't know." He says, "Just we look for someone that we think are going to be like us." And I'm like, "Good way to do it, you know?"
Yeah.
It's rolling, you know?
You just get that vibe, you know, you could tell
Yeah.
when somebody's, you know, just their energy. You could tell like this is a good guy.
You know, here's the honest truth. I've been working there for 5 years. You work any place for 5 years, there's going to be somebody on that in that company you can't stand being around, you know?
Yeah.
I can't say that. I can't even say anybody on there that I go, you know? I like being around all of them, you know?
Yeah.
So even when we went there, it was like amazing.
Great-
like everybody
great
was so
experience.
friendly and just that whole facility. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Well, when I lost my job at Liberty Coaching, my wife was the one who told me I should call down there and call Bert about seeing about a job. And I'm like, I don't want to. I'm not going to be a salesman. I don't want to. I don't see that in my future. And she goes, "Well, maybe he might have something else for you." She had never met Bert before. She just heard me say nice things about him. And I called and I left the stupidest voicemail that Bert and I still laugh about. But yeah, when they called, they saw me, he said, "Hey, let's talk," you know. And man, I owe him so much, man. I love my job. And I got offered because I'm 65. You know, we went to a financial advisor, and he told me, "You're going to retire anytime you want to." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, don't say that in front of my wife. I don't want to retire. They're paying me to do all the things I love to do, you know?"
Yeah.
You know, so they give me a life. They give me the opportunity to share my information. And so for me, it's definitely something, this Benchuary, where I went through and I said, well, do I really want to share that? Yep. The only thing I had to be careful about, I didn't want to make it too complicated. And even though, I mean, it's still complicated because the percentages of people are going to go, what the, you know, what their percentage? It's my forte. I mean, it forces the body to make small increments in the precise jumps. When I ask you to do a heavy set of 3, it should feel exactly the same as a heavy set of 6. I mean,
Yeah.
there should be no difference. Say, oh, if someone tells me I only got 2 on my set of 3, but I got all 3 sets of 6, I'll be like, well, you didn't do something right.
Yeah.
You know, you should have got off. You shouldn't. Number one, you should never miss a lift in this program, except for maybe 1 or 2 on your max effort days. One other thing we do, and I don't know if you know Duncan Hunley, but Duncan's for real. Okay,
I know his Squattober little videos, his funny videos.
Yeah. Duncan was an intern for me, and we trained together forever. And one of the things we discovered was we put our we'd always do the max effort exercise first, and then we do our volume, let's say our 5x5 afterwards. And we found that actually it was more important that we did the volume workout first and then did the max effort afterwards. And people say, well, you could have done more. Yeah, I could have done more. But the fact is, max effort's max effort. Okay. If you're fatigued and you push up 300 when you could have pushed up 325, it's still, the nervous system's still getting plenty of work. And we made better gains off of doing it like that. So I presented the routine this way. It's something that I'm sure that most people don't use it in that fashion. But we found it to work. There's no dumbbell bench pressing, even though I've had people ask me, can I use this routine on the incline? Can I use this routine on the dumbbells? Probably not. It's designed for the bench press, and I'm not trying to substitute and pretend like it's the fix-all. It would have to be too simple to be productive if it was.
Yeah, it's like it's Benchuary.
It's not incline Benchuary.
Incline Benchuary.
And I tell people all the time, this routine really, really works. If you could simply do 5x5 and do really, it's what I do a lot of times, is 5x5, and it builds a great base of strength. But you really got to be patient with it. Take your time. First time I did 5x5, I was on it literally for 9 months straight, 3 times a week, and I went up every workout 2.5 pounds. And I started, I think around 350 for 5x5, and I ended up with 440 for 5x5. And it was 2 days after doing 370, 437 for 5x5. So if I had been a little smarter and taken a little lighter day and then done it, I probably would have got it. But it's that 5x5 is phenomenal, and that's been around forever since what's his name from?
Is it Mark Ripito?
No, way before that.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, the guy from Hawaii. Oh gosh, come on, not Bigger, Faster, Stronger or something. I forget. The Strongest Shall Survive. That's it. The Strongest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a great book. It's old, but it's great. It'll make you there's some good principles in there that'll make you strong.
See, that's what's awesome about this. Is just all this knowledge, this new, information that we're getting. That's why it's so cool just to reach out. And there's so much different information in fitness and just lifting. And it's like, the whole stuff we were talking about, vegetable. Like, I just never thought about that.
Yeah, I would never think that. And like with Benchuary or any of the other programs like Squattober, Deadcember, like just that volume of training throughout the week. So many people that I tell them, I'm like, yeah, I'm squatting 5 days a week or this amount of days. They're like, are you crazy? And it's like, no, it actually helps you.
Yeah.
Like doing this much volume helps you.
Yep.
And a lot of people like to say it's too much and you're overdoing it. But no, I've never had bad results. I've only gained strength.
There you go.
It always works.
Yeah. Aaron would be proud to hear you say that. So he reached out to me on Monday after our Zoom meeting and said, "Hey, Bill, just give you a heads up. Your every morning and every night is going to be on social media answering some really dumb questions."
Yeah, man, we've done Aaron's programs like crazy, all the pen and paper strength app.
Yeah.
Man, for years we've been doing that.
It's probably like 6 years now.
Yeah.
Really?
We've been doing his programs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin, everything.
Yeah.
Pool season, all of them, man.
Yeah, see, like I told my wife, I said, I wish I could be as entertaining as Dan McKim, on some of these videos, but I'm not that good. He's hilarious.
We actually were talking to him a little bit. We were trying to get him on, kind of diving into some of the Dead December talk, and like we said, man, you guys are great. We always get such a good amount of knowledge and stuff from you guys, and that, like with Dan, the comedic aspect of it is just great. It's a good touch.
He's so awesome. I was telling my wife, I said that him and I are very, very similar. And I said, but we never get any time to spend with each other because everybody's pestering the daylights to get to talk to him, And I'm like,
yeah, his little Debbie lifting team thing is crazy.
Yeah.
I got his shirts and everything.
Yeah, my son got some too.
Yeah.
We got our Benchuary shirts on the way.
We do. I wanted them to show up before this podcast, and they didn't. But
I would like to make sure I get one too. I'm going down there the first week in February for Winter Strong, and
okay.
And I'm hoping that I'm gonna tell them to grab a couple shirts and hold on to them for me. So
yeah. I wanted to talk. So I'm interested about that. You brought that up. I saw something about it, but I'm not too familiar with Winter Strong. What is that exactly?
Oh, okay. Winter Strong is somewhat like Summer Strong, except for it has a lot more to do with the outdoors. Camping, hunting, fishing, survival, that sort of thing. And a lot of times there's certain people, either they're not interested in coming to Summer Strong, or NFL, particularly the NFL coaches and players, they can't come to Summer Strong because they're busy. So there'll be a lot of NFL players and coaches there at usually at Winter Strong. But the cool thing about it is like Summer Strong, where they don't give you name tags, okay? They just, you show up and you get a metal plate that says you belong, okay? Wow. And you're going to get fed like you've never been fed before in your life, okay? I'm serious. Every meal is just gobs and gobs and gobs. It's a man-eating world, you know what I mean? Meat, lots of meat. And but they take great care of you there, and they're it's a wonderful, wonderful experience. Winter Strong is going to be out at the farm. It's more outdoors. A lot of people camp, bring campers and tents and stuff like that. I rough it. I stay at the Hilton Garden Inn. It's a great experience, a great people, but you never know who you're standing next to. You could be last couple of years, there've been 2 or 3 Congressional Medal of Honor winners there.
Wow.
Yeah. Zach Brown came one year.
Oh, geez.
Really?
And you don't know till they're afterwards. And then, Bert will say something smart to you like, hey, did you get a chance to talk to so-and-so? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
They were here?
Everybody just, like my son said, told a friend that we're bringing him to Winter Strong. And he said, he says, Bert told me that. And he says, I turned around and here I am talking to the world jiu-jitsu champion and, and all these different world-class athletes. And he's like, I just thought they were guys. I didn't know,
Yeah.
So you never know who Bert's going to bring into this thing, So it pays. He does it on purpose because he wants people to be forced into communicating with each other while they're there. And, It makes a great scene. And, and Bert sets the tone by him being so humble. Luke Day got up to speak a couple years ago at Summer Strong, and he said, hey, guys, I'm not perfect. He says, I mess up all the time. He said, I got to change my workout all the time. He says, in fact, I took the certification test, and he says, I flunked it the first time. And I'm thinking to myself, man, no SEC strength coach is ever going to admit to not being able to pass that test. And every time I go to the conference and somebody's up there presenting their program, I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, their program is perfect. But I'm going to think to myself, I get better gains than they do. Why? Well, the truth is, That's not the program they did. They just put that up there to make it look like it was, you know? And Bert is never going to give you that false sense of who he is. He's always going to be very honest and very humble. And it sets the tone for everybody because we're all there together to make each other strong and help each other, encourage one another. And there's no room for bad mouthing. There's no room for ugliness. And it's an incredibly positive environment. I brought 2 guys to Summer Strong a couple years ago, and I said, all right, this is what I need. I'll pay for everything. But I says, when we get done, what I want to do is I want to be able to give great feedback. So I want all the dirt you can give me. Every bad thing you think we could do better. And these 2 guys can be kind of critical. And we got to the restaurant. I buy them a steak dinner, and I said, okay, guys, I bought you a steak dinner. Tell me the truth. And they said, Coach, it was the single greatest event that I've ever been to in my life, other than my wife and I's wedding.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They said, Coach, it changed my life. I will never be the same again after going to the Summer Strong.
Now I really want to go.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So when people go and say, oh, I know, it's another strength clinic, I go, no, it's not. It's not if that's why you're going, that's probably not the reason to be there. It's about life, you know, and you may hear people who are total different lifestyles, not even strength coaches, just guys who just, you know, struggle and fought and made something out of themselves. And Bert finds them inspiring, and if he finds them inspiring, so do we. And it's great, man. Summer Strong's wonderful. So
that sounds great. We're definitely, I mean, I'm going to make it a priority to get down there this year for Summer Strong. And
awesome.
Just being surrounded by those people. I mean, that's always like, you're always on the hunt for those kind of people to surround yourself. Like, it's just the best kind of people to have in your life and just pull inspiration from.
Yeah. You know, you feel that well up and you give yourself a fresh start and you go back and you're ready to, you know, take on the world for a little while, you know, and realize, okay, I'm not as wacko as I thought I was, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, you know, being around people that have the same passion as you and all the love for working out and everything. It's probably nothing like it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and they're all there to, hey, let me help you out. Let me, you know, need some help with this? Mm-hmm. Sure. You know, you know, whatever we can do to help you out, you know, and they'll jump in there and it's just, it's great atmosphere. Plus, just getting to see, you know, when we start doing the squat and deadlifts competition, that's fun, man. Old Duncan, man, he put up some big old weight in the past, you know.
I've seen some clips, yeah.
yeah. He thought he was squatting like 855, and it turned out that the plates were heavier than advertised, and it was 879, and he came out wearing a belt. No shoes, no wraps, just a t-shirt and a shorts and a belt. And he's telling me earlier that day, he goes, Coach, I'm not squatting today. And I'm like, yeah, you are.
yeah, you are. What do you mean?
He goes, yeah, Coach, I'm not ready. I'm like, yeah, you are. I said, I'm going to be behind you. I promise you, you're going to be ready. And boy, our personalities are very, very similar. Boy, we fed off of each other's energy. And
that's great.
I love that kid, man. I'm so proud of him.
That's awesome. There's truly nothing like, you know, just being around your buddies and being around some good people and just getting the strength session and just feeding off one another's energy and it's the best thing in the world.
When I was at the University of Washington, I don't know if you've ever heard of Bob Sapp, the Beast. He was the guy in the movie The Longest Yard, the newest one, where he's bench pressing the bleachers and he goes, "Oh, you broke my nose." Bob was my training partner, and he was a football player at Washington. And Bob was grotesquely strong, okay? Mm-hmm. Not once, 2 times, he got in a fight on the football field, okay? And he reached up, and he grabs his own face mask, rips his face mask off his helmet, and goes, "You want to fight?" We're cool, Bob. We're cool.
But that guy's huge.
He's gigantic, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he dwarfs me. I got a picture of him standing next to me, and I look like a little tiny boy standing next to him. But he was my training partner, and then my assistant who benched 565 when he was a football player. He was our other training partner, and then the other guy was Steve Ettman, who was fourth in the Heisman as a defensive lineman and won the Lombardi and Outland Trophy winner. And he was the number 1 pick overall in the draft in '92. And but we'd all get together and train, and it was not something that you casually walked into. It was serious. And man, I made incredible gains when I trained with them. And I talked to the guys like Brandon Lilly and some of the guys from Westside, and they said, yeah, it wasn't Louis' programming that made it strong. It was the environment. We're all out there trying to kill each other. And someone's going to get strong or broke, one of the two. And he says, we did everything we can to be strong. And so that's why I tell people, you go to Westside, I don't know if you've ever been there, but you go there and all the bars are bent. Weights laying all over the floor, dirt everywhere. I mean, it's like one of the worst training facilities I've ever seen. But you know what's going on in there. You know what the expectation is, and you don't step foot in there unless you're ready to play ball.
Yeah, we love that the documentary about Westside Barbell.
Yeah.
That's the one gym we didn't get to go visit, but dude, Ohio has like the best powerlifting style gyms I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, they do. They have a lot. I remember driving through there, different cities, trying to find a gym to train at. It wasn't hard.
Yeah. No.
Columbus, especially Columbus. There's a gym. There's probably like 10 gyms within 10 minutes everywhere.
Yeah. So, yeah. But Louis, man, him and I, we'd go around and around and around. It'd give me such a hard time sometimes. And then I could outbench almost every one of his guys. So he'd get all mad. but finally,
he's like, come on, man.
The last couple of years, he was really open to what I had to say. I was really surprised. You go out for breakfast with him every time, okay? You went to Bob Evans for breakfast every morning. And I said, Louis, I got a question for you. I said, tell me what you think is the best single exercise for powerlifters, and then what is the single best exercise for athletes in general? He goes, simple, same exercise. I said, what's that? He said, good mornings. I said, okay. I agree with you on that. I can see that. I says, but here's what I'd like to suggest. I think the back attack, which they had one there at Westside, offers resistance not only at the bottom position but at the end. And I personally found that to be more as important, if not more important, because you can't train that position very effectively. And Louis was like, "You're absolutely right. Everybody doing the back attack today." So, yeah, I'm a big fan of the back attack. And people tell me I'm a homer because we're the ones who make it. But the fact is Bobby Thompson, who's World's Strongest Man finalist, I went and worked out with him. And he said, if you could only pick one machine only, what machine would you pick? Besides the barbell, power rack, dumbbells, all that, what would you pick? I said, easy, back attack. He said, funny. He says, I was just with Brian Shaw last week. And I asked him the same question. He said, back attack. He goes, there might be something to that. I said,
Bill, do you mind explaining that a little bit? Just because I know we probably have some people like, back attack, what is that?
Well, I have the old version. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's the old version. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my shooting sticks are in the way. But that's the old version. Bert has come up with a newer version that's even better. But what it, for the longest time, we had 6 of these at Liberty, 6 back attacks, 6 back attacks, 6 reverse hypers, and 6 glute ham raises. And I bought the back attacks just because my mentor told me I should. Okay, and I trust my mentor when it came to machines. And these things sat there for a few years. We used them, but I didn't really get it. And one day I decided, I'm going to get over there and give it a try. And I started to feel like, okay, I can feel this. And we started loading some plates on there. And I went down and I got about 3/4 of the way up and I yelled, I'm stuck. Someone come help me. And all my assistants started laughing. They said, you're not stuck, coach. You can't contract your glutes anymore. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's absolutely right, you know? So I started doing this and I started finding that I was able to contract my glutes and finish my pulls. Not that I competed in it anymore, but I like to do pulls. And we started seeing that the more we did it, the more our guys cleaned really well. And one year at Liberty, I had 83 football players clean 300 or more.
Wow.
Yeah, which put that in perspective, we only had 90 scholarships. So we only had 85, excuse me. So I wanted everybody on the team to clean 300. I've had 2 guys clean 475, and we don't believe in cleaning heavy. I followed Louis Siss's system of deadlifting, where they train everything else in the weight room to make their deadlift go up, but they don't train the deadlift heavy until it's time to get ready for a meet. And that's kind of how I approached it with the clean. I trained the clean dynamically with perfect technique, never compromise on the technique, but we developed all our strength and power through everything else that we did in the weight room. And we got really strong, really powerful. And the back attack was the cornerstone of that happening. My standing long jumps, my vertical jumps, the standing long jump, I consider the single most important exercise to test on of anything, because I want to test how fast I get off the line and what my horizontal speed potential could be. And the vertical and the standing long jump, I found I could train slightly differently, and I could see results better in one versus the other. And seeing that you're going to go horizontal more in football than you do vertically, I put the emphasis on the horizontal. So
I feel like there's a lot of movements like that people really overlook.
Yeah.
That play a huge role in development.
Yeah.
Just increasing that power output.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Sean Alexander, when I coached with the Seahawks, I went out there to teach him form running, and he said, Coach, stop. He says, when they say set hut, I'm going to run the same way I've ran for 20-some years. He goes, don't try to change the way I run. And he says, instead, teach me how to create more horsepower.
Yeah.
And I said, man, for a guy that don't like to lift weights, you sure have some great insight. I said, you're one of the first people I've ever had to tell me that. And super guy. You know, he never got really strong. My philosophy's always been, if you can play football, my job is only to make you stronger and faster. Right. All right. And for Sean, he never lifted weights. And so we got him up to cleaning 3 reps with 188 pounds. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Drug free. And after he did it easily. And I said, Sean, you want to go up and weight? And he goes, oh no. But he set the NFL record that year for touchdowns. So people say, well, is that all I got to do to clean? To set the records, clean 188 pounds? If you're Sean Alexander. Now, is most people Sean Alexander? No, nowhere near it. So you better go and develop and realize your talent level isn't up there as high as his is. You know.
We just got a plethora of knowledge, Bill, and it's great hearing like all these different things and just the progress that people are making through some of these movements, and it's crazy to hear. Yeah. Just hearing some of the stuff and getting different perspectives on strength and training.
Well, I'm a big believer in opening your mind to the potential that lies within you. Because I sucked so long at the bench, I was determined that I was never going to be a good bench presser, and it changed my whole perspective on life, because I wonder now how many other things do I hold back on and now achieve what I'm capable of achieving, because I've put myself in this box and saying, this is who I am. I'm not, I'll never be anything different than this. And it's kind of a trick of the devil, be honest with you.
So you never know what you could be good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fear of failure Oh my gosh. I think that's one of the biggest things is that most people are so scared of failing that they won't step up on that platform and try.
Yeah.
And
They won't even start.
won't even start. And it's sad because you learn so much. You know, when I set the world record, stood up from the platform, people are grabbing me, hugging me, crying, and they go, "You just set the world record." And my first reply was, no, 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 no. It's all about the 50-year journey. It's not about the record. You know, I don't know why that came out, but to me, that 50-year journey was more precious to me than the record because the record's going to get broke. But that 50-year journey I went on transformed me. I'm a different individual, and I'm not saying this boastfully, but I had some days where I didn't feel like lifting weights. I had plenty of days. I had bad days. And when you go in there and you go in there day after day after day, forcing yourself to find a way to be successful, you learn a little bit more about yourself on how to become successful. And what was crazy was they did a test on my ability to focus and put all these probes on me. They set me in this room and they had me all answer all these yes, no questions. And they got done and they said, "You have no fear at all." I'm thinking, well, I'm in a room going, yes, no. I'm like, what's there to be afraid of? They said, no, 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 no. We've done this with hundreds of thousands of world-class athletes, and you just tested higher than anybody we've ever tested. And I said, I wonder why. And they said, well, aren't you that guy that lifts those heavy weights? And I went, yeah. They said, well, that's why. They said, because you can go down there, you know where you got to go. They said, you don't scream or holler at all, do you? And I said, no, I don't. And they go, you don't have to, do you? And I said, no, I know where I got to go. And they said, it comes across as if you're just as casual, like right now as can be. You know, I get quiet maybe, but I don't go crazy. I don't waste any of my energy on anything else but putting it on that bench press. And they were like, wow. They said, how does caffeine affect you? And I said, oh my gosh, 12 hours, man. It kicks my butt. And they said, no, 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 no. What happens is because of your ability to focus is so acute, so in tune, that it takes you a little bit of caffeine takes you to a level that nobody else has ever been to before, and you can't come off of it. You just can't unwind. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. You know, there I am, 9 o'clock at night. I took my caffeine at 9 in the morning and 9 o'clock at night. I can't go to sleep.
You're just ready to go. You're like, time to bench again.
Yeah, you know, you're talking about 200 milligrams of caffeine, and that was it. You know,
yeah.
Number one supplement in the world is Excedrin aspirin. We all know that, right?
Yeah. And it's also about that the discipline, like you were talking about. Like you just go down there day by day and keep going no matter what. Like you might feel like shit one day, but who cares?
Yeah,
just
it don't matter.
Keep going.
It don't matter. You go on vacation, people say, you deserve a day off. No, I don't. Be like, take a day off, I'm going to get hurt. When I tell that. I don't deserve to get hurt. And so I didn't care what time I had to do the workout. There were times I did at 3 a.m, go to the gym at down at Myrtle Beach because the family wanted to go on a trip. I'm like, oh, I got to get it in. My wife's like, yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know,
it's like Ethan and I, every trip we take, we're like, we're still working out.
Yeah.
Let's find some gyms near us. Like, we're still lifting. I don't care.
That is part of the vacation for us. It's like we got to go check out these other gyms.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, especially when we did go to Myrtle Beach, we did find a couple of them, some pretty nice ones over there.
Well, yeah, that was the trip where we stopped at Sorinex on our way there.
Yep.
Hey, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, and that makes it memorable, you know, and you meet some great people, you know, when you go to these gyms and work out, you know, you know, sometimes I'll tell them, I'm like, okay, you don't know who I am, and that's fine. I says, but these people in here might know who I am, and when they do, I'm not going to sign a bunch of autographs if I have to pay to work out here. And they go, well, we'll try to make sure, you know, they think of just nobody. And the last time that happened, a guy walked up to me in front of the girl and says, aren't you Bill Gillespie, the guy who used to be the strength coach with the Seahawks? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I was with the Eagles working upstairs. And he goes, in the business office. And he goes, I remember you. And I'm like, you're kidding me. And this girl's going, Seahawks. Oh my gosh.
Seahawks. NFL.
But yeah, I love going and meeting new people and going to visit different gyms, and that's what I do for a living. You know,
Yeah.
I go. Let's say I'm going to go visit some big gym, and I stop and I'll just walk into a public gym, just say, hey, just want to check your equipment out, you know, and
Yeah.
don't really tell them. Sometimes I don't tell them who I am, and sometimes they figure it out. But
It's just exciting.
it's like a year and a half ago at Myrtle Beach at the World's Strongest Man. Um, I went there and I was there 4 days. First 2 days, nobody really knew who I was. The last 2 days, everybody knew who I was, and I was like signing autographs. And all I was trying to do was talk to Brian Shaw, you know.
Yeah, I love Brian Shaw, man. Me and Devin always watch his videos with Eddie Hall, and everything. It's so funny.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when you meet him, he's such a gentleman. Okay.
Yeah.
He really, really, really took care of the kids, signed their autographs, gave them T-shirts. The adults, back off, get out of my way, you know. But so I wouldn't ask him until he was done with the competition. I didn't want to bother him because I respected his time and play, you know, his energy that he was trying to, you know, it was his last World's Strongest Man. So I wanted to see him be successful. But I walked up to him and I go and I shake his hand. And first of all, it's like shaking a catcher's mitt. Okay.
Oh man.
His hands are huge. And I'm like, I'm already kind of flustered. All right. And I go, oh, Brian, my name's Bill Gillespie. He goes, no need to introduce yourself. I know who you are. And I went, okay, blank.
You're like, really?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I went, oh my gosh, he knows who I am. How's he know who I am? But what a gentleman. And all the guys, you know what, when you go down to that World's Strongest Man competition, I love their mentality because they all say, I want my competitor to be at their very best when I compete against you. Then I want to beat you. And that's a good way of doing it, you know? I like that mentality, you know? I want to see you at your best. That doesn't mean I'm going to lose. I mean, I'm going to win at your best, you know? And so they're great guys, man. And I got invited in 1999 to the World's Strongest Man before you had to qualify. But my boss wouldn't let me have one day off, so I didn't get to go. But had I gone, you know, it could have changed the whole trajectory of who I was going to become. So it all worked out fine, you know.
That's awesome, and we love to hear that. And
you
know, like we've been talking about, man, we're super excited for Benchuary. I mean, you got so much knowledge, and we appreciate you sharing it. Right? We appreciate, you know, your tips and your secrets, and it's going to be a good month.
Yeah. So there's tons of them, and I hope they release all the articles that I've wrote, because there's so many little tricks. One trick I will definitely share, and it should be in there, is on I would do my warm-ups would go 8, 5, 3. Okay, my first 3 warm-ups, and Mike Bridges, who in the 80s was like a phenom at the 181 pound weight class, and I read an article from him and I talked with him about it, and he would go and his first set of 3, he would do it for 3 sets of 3. And he says that was the key to making sure I was warmed up and ready to go. So I started doing that, and it really did make a difference. And then there were days where there was no way I could bench press. And I would do those sets of 3s until I did feel good. I remember one day I did 8 sets of 3, and I went, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Had a great day. But it took me 8 sets of 3 to get that nervous system to fire the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
And your food, your hydration, all key. I was, you know, I had a lot of cramps, and I drank a lot of coconut water and yellow packs of mustard.
Mustard?
Oh, gosh, yeah. You know, believe it or not, I found that out from one of my wife's friends who never works out in his life.
Really?
Yeah, he says, you know, you tried yellow mustard? I went, all right, here are no those witchcraft brews, you know?
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and there are certain types of cramps that you get that yellow mustard, bam, gone.
We actually know somebody. We actually know somebody that has said that before, but I thought it was just like craziness.
And Adam Momola, who was a guy I've been coaching, he's the most decorated bench presser in IPF history for the United States. And he told me about the coconut oil. And if I cramp, like on my first attempt when I set the world record, my first attempt, my right hamstring cramped, which made the bar go to the left. And 1,130 pounds, you don't pull it back, okay? I just grab it. It's over.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen. It had to be perfect or it wasn't going to happen. And, boy, as soon as I got up from the bench, it just drank old court.
But so, hey, Bill, for people, prepping, maybe seeing Benchuary is getting them interested in benching again or for the first time, or people that, have been benching and are into strength sports. What is your advice, for this prep, things that we can do to prepare ourselves?
Yeah. I wrote up the program because I was getting people asking, going, hey, what do I do to prepare for it? And I kept thinking, man, if people jump on this thing full go and pick the wrong training max, we're going to have pec tears like crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to see anybody get hurt, So what I did was I designed a program where I backed it down through 2.5. I think it was 2.5% of what I call relative intensity every week, so that week one of the prep cycle was 7.5% easier than week one of Benchuary will be. And it doesn't sound significant, but it's just significant enough. And then I backed down the tricep push-ups. I backed the volume down on the reps on that to allow them to get used to it, because that'll make you so sore you can't see straight. There are Louis kept telling me, do more triceps, and I kept doing more triceps. I kept getting my bench wasn't going nowhere, and I tried every tricep exercise known to man, and it didn't work. And when I tried these tricep push-ups, boom, my bench took off. And Brandon literally mentioned to me, he says, I think they work because they force the upper back to work with it too. And I went, that makes sense, because my upper back would get sore too, but my triceps would be sore for days. The first time I did this, because I was like, sore, scorched, sore. I overdid it,
Right.
That's the biggest thing too with triceps. I feel like it's such a huge part with bench press, especially if you get stuck halfway.
Yeah.
It's like that second half of that movement, it's like all triceps. There's been many times where I'm trying to work up to a PR and I get stuck. And then for a week or two, I just really train triceps and eventually I hit it.
Yeah. So. Or, like I said earlier, sometimes you're missing the top half because you don't get enough speed off the bottom half.
Yeah.
And so it's tricky. I found that with the bench shirt that my floor press was the number one indicator lift. Okay. So what do you think? Obviously, what do I do for a year? I spent a year training the floor press.
Yeah.
The problem was the floor press wasn't the source. It was the indicator. Okay. And there was another exercise I did that was the source. And because I kept track of it, I've documented every workout I've ever done since 1980, I think it was. And so I just looked back at my training manual and saw what I was doing and what I changed. And I went, oops, got to change that one up. And, and that happened a lot. I tell guys, if you train with me, we're going to experiment. Okay. Some of it's going to work and some of it's not going to work, but we're going to figure this thing out eventually. And because I couldn't use my athletes as guinea pigs, so I had to be the guinea pig and I had to test it out. And my training partners. And one thing we did notice, because we did a velocity based program for so long, that everybody who I'll ask guys if they train velocity based training, if they think they understand it, and they'll go and tell me yes. And I said, then tell me what the weak component of velocity based training is. And until you know the weak components, you really don't know it. And I found that when guys would start training with me, that their lockouts would start to diminish. And the reason for it wasn't because of the lack of triceps. It was because the base weight that we were training was, let's say you could do it 6 times. You had to do it 6 times. You could probably do that 8, 9, 10 times. All right.
Yeah.
But we stop at 6 because the bar slows down too much after 6. And if you go and you train that way, then you explode the weight up, but there's so much momentum that you don't really train the lockout effectively. And I know that people are going to say, well, do boards, or pin presses or blah, blah, blah. It didn't make a difference, okay? It didn't make a difference with me. I did all that stuff. It didn't make me stronger. What made me stronger was when I worked on the bottom part of my bench, and I found an exercise that helped me get stronger in my lockouts. But it's too complicated to share, so I like to.
Interesting. All right. We might have to hit you up after the fact.
Yeah. Maybe next year when this isn't so complicated, I can add it in because it's pretty simple, but I know people are going to mess it up. I know
Gotcha.
that. Yeah.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh,
before we wrap it up, is there any words of wisdom you like to put out there for yourself or for Benchuary coming up?
Well, for Benchuary, don't go on a diet. Don't miss a meal. Eat every meal. Okay. Drink lots of water. Drink lots of milk. Milk is a great source for rehydration and protein and carbohydrate. I drink old school, but hey, I drink a lot of milk. And I had to go down to 1% because 65 years old. I don't need to be drinking whole milk anymore, but I do like it. But don't miss your meals. I found that the night before I max or go heavy, a big steak, doesn't have to be fancy, just big chunk of meat. I like Montreal seasoning on mine because I like I got to be careful, but I like the salt on there, get a little sodium bloat. And lots of green vegetables. Man, that kale and spinach, unbelievable how much it'll help prevent you from getting hurt and how much it'll make you strong.
Yeah,
definitely. And so just so I can clarify, we got egg whites, milk, protein powder, and then the vegetable oil, right?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yep. I did do that twice a day. Okay.
Twice a day, guys.
Twice a day. But, and it's only going to be, excuse me, I want to make sure it's only Monday through Friday on the days you work out. Saturday, Sunday, you got to come off. And you're only going to be good for 8 weeks. And then you got to come off of it after 8 weeks.
Okay. So Benchuary drink.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Benchuary drink. Yeah, it will make you bigger. I promise you. It will make you bigger.
About to have it tonight. No.
Yeah. I drank them things all the time, man. I carried them. I had a little cooler. And I carried them eggs with me all the time when I was coaching track and field. So,
well, thank you, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to this, and hopefully it just goes over as well as we hope it does.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, thank you, guys.
All right. Great conversation we had with Bill. He provided a lot of good knowledge when it comes to benching, some lifting secrets, the Benchuary drink. We got milk, protein powder, egg whites, and vegetable oil.
The secret ingredient.
So, interesting. We're going to definitely try that out. But, yeah, a lot of experience with Bill. It was definitely a good conversation.
Yeah.
Ethan wants to do his traditional ending. I still refuse because these don't work. We actually have one of our assistants, Kenneth Richards, here. He's going to be partaking in Benchuary as well. Go ahead and pop that bad boy open.
Mind you, I don't use these very often, so...
Just let them know they don't work.
Yeah, they're not really working anymore.
So I'll let you guys know. That should tell you enough right there.
Yeah, they don't work.
That should tell you enough. So.
I mean, I'm not faking it. I'm telling you it's
cut it
out.
Look, I'm going to donate some.
Cut it out.
Just so they got some.
No, as in cut it out as far as they don't work, man.
Oh.
We can't.
Well, we're going to get new ones, so they do work. Yeah. We just haven't gotten them yet, but we're going to get them.
GoFundMe in the bio for...
There's no GoFundMe. Thank you guys for watching. Like we said, we're super excited for Benchuary. Thank you, Bill, for coming on the show. And, yeah, we've been hitting that prep every day.
And we talked about Summer Strong.
Yeah.
It's a priority to get there this year.
It is. We're doing it. So
we'll see you there, Bill.
Yeah, see you there.
Peace
Thanks
out.
for watching.